Welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to be creating elements dynamically that we're going to add to the element with the ID of main. So adding them in, just as we've got the div with hello world, the paragraph, the span, we're going to add them dynamically. So opening up our editor, let's create a list of the different elements that we want to use. And we can do the same thing as we've got our class array, and we can call this element array. And these are going to be all of the different types of elements that we're going to allow the user to create. So we want them to create a div, a paragraph, as well as a span. And doing all of this dynamically. So we want to also add an option for the user to create those elements. So we can add that to the top of the input. So doing add element, let's provide a drop down. So another select with a name of add element. And we're going to populate it dynamically with JavaScript as we iterate through the array. And then one more, we're going to add in a button and give the button the name adder. And that will give us the option to add the element. And this will add it into the main area. So let's make those selections within our JavaScript where we've got our select with add element. I'm going to create an object for that. So const add element, select the select that has a name of add element. So connecting that object. And then the other new object that we have is another button with a name of adder. So we can specify that within our selection process, and we can just call it adder document query selector and specifying the button with a name of adder, and we'll make that selection. Next, let's make sure that we've got them available as objects in JavaScript. So we clear that out, and let's first try adder. So that's selecting the button with a name of adder, as well as we're going to select the add element select object. So we've got both of them selected. So the next thing that we want to do is populate that add element select object. So going down to where we've got the DOM content loaded, this is where we can utilize that the same way that we populated the classes from the array. We can also populate that option from our element array as well. We can iterate through each one of those. Instead of select classes object, we're going to add it into the add element object. So shrink that down and refresh. So this is giving us an option to add any one of these elements. So coming up next, we're going to attach the event listener to the add button and add in the element dynamically into the class, into the element with the ID of main. So that's still to come in the upcoming lesson. So go ahead and add this into your project, adding in the list of elements for the user to be able to select.